How are you today? It's good being here.
We're glad to have you. Let's jump right in. Dr. Houghton, we understand you believe more can be done for citizens and their money. Firstly, where have the banks gone wrong?
Yeah, what we're seeing is that over the last couple of months or so, a lot of people have been complaining that money have been mysteriously disappearing from their accounts. And when you realize that no, because income has been so low for many of these people, and expenses have been increasing because of the inflation that we've been experiencing domestically and globally, then we have to take care in how we manage these funds, especially because there's legislation that if you have over a certain amount, you must keep it with the bank. Now, what we're seeing is that people are accessing the bank's gateways, and by doing so, they are getting access to people's account or their information, etc., etc. And I think that the bank can use technology to do more. I think that we need to figure out how we're going to close some of these gateways, how we are going to make sure that there's two-factor authentication when people are accessing accounts. There's know your customer as well, and also we want to ensure that the information that people are holding with these banks, their monies and access to these monies are secure.
Dr. Houghton, is Jamaica technologically adept to include more technological protection for clients?
Well, we have to, and given that we're moving into the fourth industrial revolution, as we know, then more must be spent on cybersecurity, more must be spent on blue and red hacking for these banks, more must be spent on securing the monies of Jamaican citizens who work so hard to earn these small amounts and then put them with the bank, and then to wake up tomorrow to see that all the money is gone. It's devastating. I think that the bank must compensate these people for their losses, and even if it's the person's fault or whatever the case may be, the bank is still at fault in some of these instances, and every effort must be made to ensure that our citizens' hard-earned income is protected in the banks.
That actually brings me to my next question. Can the past mistakes made with customers be resolved?
Yes. The mistakes that we're seeing are really resolvable. I think that more research, more development must take place, and fundamentally more infusion of technology. And we're seeing that this speaks to the broader issue of access to financial services by many of our Jamaican citizens, and it speaks to how we look at mobile money solutions as well that exist, because what you realize is that people need more access to their funds, and we need a more inclusive financial system for Jamaica. And everyone must make an effort to make sure that we try to not to exploit many of these people, but to make sure that their funds are secure.
And what about the legal system? What are the legal redemptions for customers who fall victim to, say, scammers, for example?
Well, as it relates to scamming, some of the scamming is the customer's fault, but where it is not the customer's fault and the banks are at fault, then it is in the customer's overall duty to look at the Financial Services Commission to speak to the relevant authorities about how best to recover their funds.
And say more about that. What's the difference between a scam being the customer's fault versus the bank's fault? What do you mean by that? What's the difference?
Well, if customers are negligible in their approach and someone is selling you something, or someone tell you that you win something and you take your money and send to them, versus if you get a link that says it's NCB and you click on the link and without doing anything, all your money from your account is gone. That's because they have access now to the bank's gateway. And the difference is that in the second instance, the customer is not necessarily negligible. The customer was merely following bank authorized instructions that the scammers were able to tap into.
And what are some technological advances that banks can make to improve the system?
I mean, we have to look at cybersecurity. We have to get these experts in to look at our entry points, look at the robustness of these cybersecurity system. I mean, the government want everyone who are managing data to register by December. And up to today date, we heard that the website for the registration of these data protection for the companies have not been up. So the government too are at fault. And it's a multifaceted amount of disadvantages that the customer is facing, both from the government point of view, in terms of making what they promise accessible, and also from the bank's point of view, who now are in a position to do more by expending more to protect their customers.
Final question for you, Dr. Houghton. What's your foreseeable financial future for individuals who trust in the banks?
The banking sector is alive and well in Jamaica. It's fairly robust. I mean, these incidents of mishap is just a small percentage. Nevertheless, they are significant because we see them occurring in a growing amount. Fundamentally, we along with the banking sector, we need other forms of financial solutions. We want Apple Pay to be able to function in Jamaica as it functions in other countries. We want PayPal to function in Jamaica as it functions in other countries. And we would like to be able to use our cards universally as other cards are from other countries. And also on a domestic point of view, similar to you have Cash App and Zelle to transfer money from hand to hand, we also need this sort of financial solution for our domestic people who now want to be able to participate in the whole business of global trade and commerce, but are being restrained by regulation as well as access to finances across the country.
Thank you so much for your time. That was economist and opposition spokesman on science, technology, innovation, entrepreneurship, Dr. Andre Houghton. Thank you, Dr. Houghton.
Thank you. Thank you.